Have you ever heard a story so haunting that it stays with you forever? Today, we're diving deep into the dark, cobblestone streets of a medieval German town to uncover the chilling tale of the Pied Piper of Hamelin. This isn't just a children's fairy tale. It's a powerful legend born from the Middle Ages, a story about promises, music, and the devastating consequences of breaking your word. Imagine a town, the prosperous town of Hamelin, suddenly facing a crisis of biblical proportions. It's not a flood or a fire, but something far more insidious. Rats, everywhere. They swarmed through the houses, nibbled at the food in the barrels, and scurried over sleeping babies in their cradles. The people were desperate, and their leaders, the mayor and the town council, were at their wits' end. Just when all hope seemed lost, a strange figure appeared in the town square. He was tall and thin, dressed in a bizarre, multicolored, or pied, outfit. In his hand, he held a simple pipe. He wasn't a knight or a nobleman, but he spoke with an air of quiet confidence. He was a professional, a rat catcher, and he made the town leaders a bold offer. For a handsome sum of 1,000 guilders, he promised he could rid Hamelin of every single rat. The mayor, seeing a quick fix to his enormous problem, eagerly agreed. 1,000 guilders it is, he declared. Free us from this plague, and the gold is yours. A promise was made. The stranger, now known as the Pied Piper, lifted his pipe to his lips and began to play. It was no ordinary tune. It was a melody so strange, so enchanting, that it seemed to weave itself into the very air. And then, something miraculous happened. From every cellar, every attic, and every dark corner, the rats began to emerge. Big rats, small rats, lean rats, brawny rats, brown rats, black rats, grey rats, tawny rats. They all came tumbling out, mesmerized by the piper's song. He walked slowly through the streets, his music pulling the entire rodent army behind him, like a furry squeaking river. The townsfolk watched in stunned silence from their windows, as the piper led the massive procession straight out of the town gates, down to the deep, flowing river Weser. Without a moment's hesitation, the rats plunged into the water and were swept away, every last one of them. Hamelin was free. A wave of relief and celebration washed over the town. The nightmare was over. The people cheered, and the mayor and his council slapped each other on the back. But when the Pied Piper returned to the town hall to collect his promised fee, the mood soured. With the threat gone, the mayor's gratitude vanished, replaced by greed. 1,000 guilders, he scoffed, for simply playing a tune on a pipe. That's absurd. We'll give you 50. The piper's eyes narrowed. He had held up his end of the bargain. He had performed a miracle. He calmly reminded the mayor of their agreement, warning him not to joke about such a serious promise. But the mayor and the councilmen just laughed, dismissing him as a mere entertainer. They had gotten what they wanted, and they saw no reason to pay the full price. Their greed had blinded them to the danger they were now in. The piper, his face a mask of cold fury and sorrow, turned and walked away, vowing they would regret their decision. On a quiet sunlit morning, while all the adults were gathered in the church, the sound of a pipe echoed through the streets once more. But this time, the melody was different. It was sweeter, more joyful, and even more irresistible. It wasn't the rats that answered the call this time. It was the children. From every house, the children of Hamelin came running. Little boys and girls, their faces filled with wonder, followed the piper's enchanting music. They danced and skipped behind him, their laughter echoing through the now empty streets. The adults, hearing the commotion from the church, rushed out, their hearts filled with a sudden, terrible dread. They watched in horror as the Pied Piper led their beloved children, 130 of them, towards a large mountain just outside the town. As the procession reached the mountainside, a hidden door magically swung open, revealing a dark cavern within. The piper walked inside, and all the children followed him, still captivated by his song. And then, just as quickly as it had appeared, the door swung shut, sealing them inside forever. The music stopped. Silence fell over Hamelin, a silence heavier and more terrifying than the noise of all the rats combined. The town was plunged into a grief from which it would never recover. The laughter of children was gone, replaced by the weeping of their parents. The mayor and the town council had saved their gold, but they had lost their future. Their broken promise had led to an unbearable consequence. The tale of the Pied Piper became a permanent scar on the town's history, a tragic lesson etched into their very streets. So what does this dark and powerful story really teach us? It's about more than just rats and magic pipes. At its core, the legend of the Pied Piper is a stark warning. Always keep your promises. The mayor's greed and dishonesty led directly to the town's greatest loss. It shows that actions, especially dishonest ones, have consequences that can be far more devastating than we can imagine. The symbolism in the story is incredibly potent. The rats can be seen as the problems we create through our own carelessness and corruption. The piper's music represents the power of influence and persuasion, a power that can be used for good, as it was with the rats, or for terrible revenge when wronged. And most tragically, the children represent innocence, the pure and trusting souls who ultimately pay the price for the moral failures of adults. The Pied Piper of Hamelin serves as a timeless reminder that honesty, respect, and fairness are the pillars that hold a community together. When those pillars are broken by greed and deceit, the entire structure can come crashing down. It tells us that a promise is a debt, and failing to pay it can cost you everything you hold dear. This story has been told and retold for centuries. A chilling bedtime story and a profound moral lesson all in one. It asks us to look at our own lives and consider the weight of the words we speak and the promises we make. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into one of folklore's most haunting tales. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories from the crossroads of history and legend. Until next time, stay curious.